What's going on, everybody? It's Chris here, Better Investing. Today is, I don't know, what's today's date? Today is, I don't know, the 8th, I guess. Yeah, today's the 8th. Kind of do a little recap on the market. I haven't posted a video all week. I was pretty much busy swamped with work and meetings, but let's take a look at some things and we'll just go from there. All right, so, we're looking at SPY for the most part. Nothing has changed. Like if you just look here on the weekly, nothing has really changed in terms of the moving average trend. If you're a trend follower, you're still bullish. Right, no moving average crossover. Again, there's just nothing really that suggests elsewise, I would say. Let me tighten these up. All right, this is really like your parallel trend that we got from the bottom back here in 2023, right? Then we just been ripping, making higher highs and higher lows along the way. Um, the one thing that you could say really on the weekly is that okay, we are starting to put in these lower highs across the board. Um, right? Let me do it this way, right? So if I would take this right here, right, we put a high in here at 610.78, and then the next high was 609.96, and then the next high was 608.13. So we're making lower lows and lower highs, back into here. Suggesting that, if you're following the past 3 weeks, you would say, well, we're kind of trending down, but at the same time, we're kind of popping up, and it's just been very, very choppy. Was what I would call it. But the thing is, like, if you look at what's kind of transpired over the last few weeks, like I'll just kind of mark them out on the chart real fast, and we're not gonna look at QQ. Let's keep it live on SPY. Like this right here, like this dump down. This was the deep seek news, and then that happened on the Friday, and then this happened on the Friday was some tariff news about the Mexico and Canada, right? We gapped down, and then again some more tariff news came out this past Friday or yesterday, right? And chances are, we're probably going to gap down again. But do we hold above 590? Really is the key. And really, like your line in the sand is really this 575. But yeah, it's very very interesting to see for the most part, I would say. Let's go here and look at a 65-minute chart real fast. And again, this is just it's something you would just notice is that we kind of have these wedges up, I would say, right? We kind of just trend up. Let's do this. Let's do this real fast. Let's remove our moving averages so we can see how clean, I wouldn't say clean, but how it's been working right now. So, right, so we have this move up from 575 all the way up, right? We see, right, we're wedging up for the most part. Then we get the drop, right? And then we do the same thing. We wedge up, and then we get a drop. And the same thing, right? That's the question. Are we wedging up again? Wedging up, and then we get a drop, right? So we're just putting in these lower highs and lower lows, right? And the question is, do we break these lows? And the question really remains is, do we break these lows right here? Like that's where I would say is the line in the sand, is if we start to break down again and breaking these lows here, well, we do have some support. This bull gap right here from 584. No wonder if we're going to hold this. If that doesn't hold, then your next level to really watch is these previous lows back here. So that's really all I see on SPY. You could do something like take this across. Let me see. Let me see if I can do that. Like if I would do something like that, you kind of break out. Yeah, I don't really like that. But yeah, that's really what you see for the most part, right? We wedge up, break down, wedge up, break down, wedge up, break. Like that's all we're seeing right now on SPY. So what occurs? Just a very challenging market right now. I would admit that. I know a lot of traders have stated that as well. And you just have to be mindful of what's going on. So all right, I'll go take a look at a few things real fast, some like macro type of things. Let's go check on the dollar. So dollar for the most part, structure is still intact. It hasn't really broke below 107. No, 2 years. Let's go take a look at the 2 year. 2 year again still intact. Hasn't broke this previous um, higher low. It looks like it's ready to break back above the 200. We go take a look at the 10 year. Again, 10 years still really holding here. Did kind of break down this previous high right here, undercutted it. Now it's kind of retesting it from below. So, if the 2 year or the 10 year is going to continue to rib, you definitely want to see it get back above, this 4.5, and continue its rally higher. No, looking at oil breaking down. No, it's had its chance to rally like right here, I would say. All right, opened up at 74 all the way up here and sold off, and just hasn't found any traction. You would think testing the 50 from above, that'd be a level area that it's want to hold, but for the most part, this downtrend pretty much still intact, still making uh, lower lows and lower highs along the way. We can kind of just check that off here, right? Um, lower high, lower high, lower high, and now I try to get back above this lower high, which as you can see, right, we just popped over it and then bloop right back down. Really, this 60, 66, 65 kind of is like your last line of defense before it really starts to find it really starts to probably teeter off a little bit. Right, we kind of see how this is previous area of resistance and actually broke out, kind of held here and here, right, as support, and as we rally higher into like the hundreds back in 2022. But yeah, I mean that's really all I see. I don't really have a lot of good things out there that I'm watching. I'll go take a look at what I had on my list last week, and none of that looked like it panned out. A lot of pops are continuing to get sold. I think I had XL. I had this on my list, but it doesn't look like it's set up. CNP still doesn't look bad. It looks like it could break out above 32. Let's go check out here on the weekly real fast. Let's hit about 40 bucks. What did they do? Utilities company. Yeah, I mean, doesn't look bad, but I'm not really a trader of utilities, to be honest. But you kind of see the spot. One tap, two tap, three tap, four tap. How many times is it going to tap this spot before it breaks out, or is it going to break down? Yeah, this is pretty much an old list. Let me see what I got on here for the most part. This should definitely be on my short list. So let's do this. Go back. But yeah, not really much. I do like this one. So this is a Next Tracker. This is a solar play. Only problem is like, solars are very sensitive to rates, and we kind of see what I showed you on the rates, and a lot of the solar stocks look like that. But this kind of really falls into that peg scenario. This is a power earnings gap. They have it right. They pull back to the 50. Earnings came out. This stock hit about 52 bucks, 52.50, right? And now it's kind of pulled back, and hasn't really triggered to take a long here at the EMA 9, but perhaps if it pulls back into this previous area here, like 44, or I mean honestly, you have a kind of a spot right here. This previous swing pivot, right? Doesn't want to hold here, right? And you kind of catch this as continuation. So what you would look for is as it holds here, is for it to start to break that previous high, right? If it can break that previous high, then all right, game's on. So you want to see a candle, maybe a diddle around a little here, diddle around, right? Diddle around and then kind of break, maybe, right? Breaking over here, over this range, over 48 or so. And your stop is right below here, right? To get back up to here, right? All right, this is how much you're risking. Right, if you trigger right here, this is how much you're risking, and this is your reward. I mean, in terms of width. Right, that's how much I can capture. right? And this is how much I can lose. Right? Just kind of just drawing some shit out. But yeah, I mean that doesn't look bad. Like that's a power earnings gap. Pull back to the 20 or no this previous pivot right here. That can be a spot. Let me see that shit. I don't know why this isn't showing, but that should be a pivot. It's a previous high. But yeah, I think it doesn't look too bad, and it's a very very tight risk for you to kind of think of this as continuation to the upside. Um, but yeah, I mean that's really not really much out here from a loan perspective that I really liked. I mean, this Teledoc, I'm an investor in this right now. My cost basis is $11. I think this has bottomed. I would love for it to come back a little bit lower. Um, I mean, overall, I think this looks relatively positive. And I think you gotta be mindful of that volume that really sticks out here right before earnings. They said they do have earnings towards the end of the month. But we'll see what happens. Let me go check their financials again. 600 million reported, 1 billion, right? Kind of equal in cash and debt. That's the one issue I have for a growth stock. I don't want to see your cash and your debt so high as well. Revenue wise, it look like they fell off from the COVID levels. All right, but still making billions of dollars, operating income, net income. God damn, -13 billion. That's a lot. I don't know what they wrote off or what. Yeah, don't. Yeah. Fuck, didn't I see that? Maybe that's why I only got 50 shares. Price to sales not bad. Price to cash flow. Oh. Operating margins. Nah, come on, you gotta get better there. Net margins are getting better. And that's what I really look at, net margins. All right, because think of net margins like you throw a net out into the ocean, it gets to the bottom of the floor, right? And you got 300 fishes in it, but by the time you pull that bitch up, you only got 100, right? So yeah, you netted 300 fish, but you only walked away with 100, right? So you have 10% margins. That's the way you can kind of look at it. All right, now if you came up, is that 10%? I don't know. Is that 10% or 30%? That's 30%, right? You got like 30% margins. I don't know. Don't count me on my math. It's Saturday. I'll go take a look at some stocks I think look like shorts right now. Let me go back and throw this on the list. This Biogen. I mean, this is a sucker stock right now in terms of this direct price action. And the thing what I really like about this is that it had its opportunity to kind of hold this previous COVID breakout spot, and it has failed. Very similar to Moderna. Um, and I'm wondering, if shit hits the fan now that we're below this spot, that we really start to sell off on this stock. So they do have earnings next week, and I was looking at some like March 120s. They were like $150. I mean, this probably isn't a bad like risk, to see if you can get a move after earnings. Um, I mean, this is kind of what I'm looking at right here. You kind of got this little flat bottom right here. It's kind of just tapping this spot around this 140 location. And the reason why I bring that up because very similar here. We have this flat bottom, right, where it popped right into the EMA 20, right, flat bottom, and kind of the same thing here, right. So if I just go ahead and move this, you kind of got that same location, right, pops to the EMA 20, flat bottom, breakdown again. I mean, this thing has given you plenty of opportunities as it has broken down. Because I played it back here on this flat bottom. I remember this. This is what I played. All right. Don't need to extend that to the right though. All right, that was a flat bottom breakdown. Boom, broke down all the way down to 189. And I want to say I played it somewhere else. I think I probably no. I'm trying to think where else I played it at. Not sure where else I played it at. It was last year though for sure. But yeah, might have been this one. I think it probably was. I can't remember. But yeah, another little flat bottom look here. on it, and the question is, is that going to turn into something? Um, Really, that's really a good question. United Healthcare. No, I talked about this one. I said, probably the bottom is in, but I did mention that, this is a big move down. It has a lot of space to make a lower high. Now, what's interesting here is kind of like with the moving averages converging over, the 50 is crossing the 200, right? It's kind of like your def cross. Like considering here, this is your golden pocket, like this is your golden cross, right? Okay, we got the golden cross, and it did go higher. You kind of got like a death cross, right? 50 is declining down, all the moving averages are declining down. There's an opportunity here, I would say, for this stock to probably go a little lower. Right, if we kind of take the width of this pattern right here, it's about $50 or so. We take this from the breakout spot, it probably takes it, back down into this range, right? It kind of levels out pretty much, right on the nail, right? Takes you right back into 473. 476. Another way you can kind of, look at it is, some people like to measure it, the actual flagpole. So we take this flagpole, right? So, okay, this is a continuation pattern. Well, a breakout from this continuation pattern, definitely pitch you down here into like, 378 or so. We go to the left, right? See what we got here. Anything over here? All right. Kind of lines up to this previous breakout spot, around 380. No, that doesn't. Technically, that's a location, and that's all we can do as traders. Identify locations and ask yourself, is what we noting possible. So where this is at? I said 380. Where is that at? Oh, yeah, right around here. All right. I almost came back drifting to it. All right. Yeah. So that's possible. If you have somebody who wanted to short shares or something, I probably don't see myself taking it all the way down to there. We do have some buyers kind of stepping in a little bit around this 520 location, right? Low 521, low right here 519 around this 520. So maybe you want to look for it to get below there, for a bigger move. Gapped up right here, so we do. Right, hold on, gapped up, right? So we do have a little gap here as well. So mark that out. Right, around 5.9, 5.12. But yeah, that's kind of what I see there. Target as well. Very suspicious of this move, right? This kind of had its earnings big move down. Rally back into this previous gap spot that never got filled when it popped up. As you can see, we struggled there. They tried to get over top, right below the 50, below the 200. Moving average across it now, kind of breaking down right here. Not really a clean pattern, I would say. I don't really have a good pattern in terms of like, oh, is this a bear flag? Like what am I going to draw here? I don't really have anything to like suggest that this is a bear flag or anything. I don't really see it. I just see this a lower highs. Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Right, like now it's kind of undercutting it. I think I could probably tighten this up a little bit. Maybe like right there, it's still holding that spot. I think this win looks like a flat bottom breakdown. It's pretty clear here. Below all the moving averages, the 50 is crossing the 200 def cross. Right, you got the 9 and 20 crossed over, tapping into this 80 location psych spot. This could sell off, back into low 70s. They do have earnings coming up as well next week, so be mindful of that. But you never know. If you want to play the trend direction, and you want to say, well, the earnings have been bad the previous 2 quarters, right? And the stock hasn't really gone anywhere. Right? Try to pop 107, and nothing really has happened on this stock. Overall trend hasn't made a new high on this stock since 2021. Shit, probably lower than that, right? Looks like 2020. Right? The stock hasn't made a new high since 2018. In terms of like fundamentals, I want to say this stock is pretty struggling fundamentals, right? $13 billion in debt, $3 billion in cash, right? That's what you call, somewhat of an insolvency risk. Look here at their debt to equity ratio. It's not even showing. Oh, let's go to annual. Not sure why it's debt to equity ratio. Right, the last thing I got on my list was at 6. That's pretty high. That was from 2018. I'm not sure why there's dashes here right now since they do have debt. Let me see. This is your so hold on. Just reading over this whether company activities are financed with its own funds. Yeah, I know this, but why is it not showing? Interesting that it's not. I'm not seeing their debt to equity ratio. Might have to like chat GPT it or something. No net margins we can see here, right? Minus 8.9%. I mean minus 1.89%. So like if I would just go back to like their financial statement, right, we see their net income on a quarterly basis. Well, if we just go to an annual basis, um, I mean they've been losing money. All right, lost 2 billion in 2020. Lost 700 million, 400 million. It looked like they got positive last year, but overall, um, not really. Operating income, total revenue, net income was $7 billion, netting 700. That was last year. So they had a positive overall last year. Let's go look at the quarters. We got on quarters. Okay, positive, 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 negative, positive, positive, positive. All right, so last quarter, negative. Um, Mostly negative, net income for the most part. But yeah, I think that technically that's what that looks like. Not sure why I got this on my list. This might be like a tariff play. I don't know if tariffs are going to be the catalyst, but I mean this is kind of already had its move. You can kind of see it here flag. So I could probably take that off. FTAI. I don't know why I have this on my list. Don't really see nothing here. And Lulu. Got that moving average. Look like it's like ready to cross over. Volume is kind of peaking up. But I mean, it's still above 50, and it isn't after a gap up. So I mean, this can get bought up. I want to say there were more on my freaking list. I'm not sure why these are not showing. I don't have that. Those are not my positions anymore. I do have Moss, but that's a longer term play. Let's go back to the master list real fast. I swear there was some more things. Oh, I just know. This RKLB, this Roblox, right? I mean, not this Roblox, this Rocket Lab. This looks very interesting in terms of like a mean reversion type of play. So let's kind of take a look at it from like a Bollinger Band perspective, right? I mean, this is probably your best day right here when it kind of poked out of his Bollinger Band. You kind of see it pokes out of his Bollinger Band, pulls back, pokes out of his Bollinger Band, pull back. And I think of the Bollinger Band like fish jumping out of the pond. They always want to get back into the pond. So I don't really see nothing from a Bollinger Band perspective. But I think like what you can look at is from like, where it closed at right now and where it's still 57% above its 200-day moving average. What's even more crazy about this, if you consider in this base that I had grew, right, and the verticality of this move, right, from its base breakout, let's see here, 750 is kind of its base breakout. This stock is still up, 264%. I mean, that's pretty positive, but in terms of like money wise, debt not bad, but cash, like come on, debt to cash is damn near even. And in terms of like, looking at their revenue, I mean, nothing really like, oh damn, that. Look, I'm quick to change my mind on something. I mean, that is growing revenue for the most part, but 15%, I mean, nothing crazy. And then it really comes down to this. Well, look at net income. Again, looking at revenue and then looking at net income is really where you kind of get your deviations at. Like, okay, yeah, you're making more money, but you're also losing more money, right? So yeah, your revenue is increasing, but look at your net income. Your net income is still, going negative, right? You lost 55 million, you lost 117 million, you lost 100. So like maybe perhaps they're putting more money to like their R&D or their capital expenditures, whatever that word is. But price to sales at 37 right now. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's pretty high. Well, price to sales for a growth stock. No, this is when you want to capture it when it's 8, right? When it's 8 back in 2022, right? Back in 2022 makes a lot of sense. Look how much the stock was trading back in 2022, $4 or $5. Yeah, I like that. All right, and you want to get your growth stocks at low, modest price to sales. Once they start getting extended, perhaps you want to sell if you're a valuation type of guy. But I do kind of look at this right here, like this is ready to break down. Easier way to kind of look at it is like, say if I just inverted this chart, right? You'd be like, okay, it looks like this stock maybe has a bearish to bullish reversal, right? That's the kind of look it's giving right now, right? The moving averages look like they're ready to cross and curl up, right? I mean, I'm not really an RSI guy, but let's check the RSI real fast, right? RSI, it's not making new lows, right? It's somewhat deviation there or divergence there, but again, I'm not an RSI guy, right? Kind of breaking trend a little bit, right? We kind of got that look. Let me do this real fast. Let's see if we go from here. Take down, right? We got kind of a little trend look right here, right? Right now, again, what I'm thinking of, if it can break this 50, it can probably come back down and probably to right here, about 21 bucks. Right, so let's mark up this spot right here, right around like 21.18. Right now, let's flip the charts. All right, we thinking that this is a breakout. I'm thinking that it's a breakdown. It comes back down into this pocket right here, 21.87. Well, what does that 21.87 line up with? Let's see. Let's do this. Let's make sure this is visible on our daily and our weekly. Let's see where that 21.87 lines up at. Well, okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? It's not a nice little bar here, right? That 21.87 kind of lines right up with the weekly 200, the weekly 20, which again is pretty extended when we think about price, right? This is a 20% difference between price and moving average, right? It's 20% away from its 20-week moving average. And if you look here on a weekly perspective, let's pull up the Bollinger Bands. What we got? All right, nothing really there. Not really a big Bollinger Band guy. I do look at them for like parabolic shorts, but yeah, I mean that's probably possible that this can pull back right here into the 21. But at the same time, you're playing contracts, right? Maybe next month or something, you can get a move down. All right, it's a nice little move. Considering, let's do this real fast. What's the average true range on the week? Average true range on the week, damn. Average percentage change on the week is around 18%. Their ADR on the week is around $3.04, right? So $3.87. So we say $3.87, right? $3.87. Let's do that. $3.87. Right, put you around right around here. All right, 14% move on options. It's not bad. I mean, you probably got to check the IV on those puts. Those probably cost a little bit, but doesn't look bad for an actual thought that this can break down. I mean, some people, and I think it's really right here. 26 is like your spot you want to watch. I don't want to anticipate this move, right? I want to take it here. Right, it's about to another 3% down, 4% down. Right, take it through there. Right, having a tight stops, and I'll probably stop out over the EMA 20 or so. But yeah, that's really about it. Again, guys, I'm not really seeing a lot of good long setups. It was crazy because I did see one last week, but I want to say when I noticed it was already the market was closing. It was really this these stocks I was already in. Like this was a nice little little pattern here on this Fannie Mae, and also the Freddie Mac. Nice little play breakout. Right, you kind of see the volume here, and it really confirms. Well, not that day, but the volume here kind of picking up into this spot, breaking out, closing at its highs. Right, closed at 53. I mean, it closed at 539. The high was 539. Right, no sellers, then breaks out right back into this spot. Now, I mean, you need it for it to set up again. Let me see. What's this Tempest? This Tempest AI Nancy Pelosi stock. Doesn't look like it's short. Palantir, probably my worst take profit ever. Sold this at 65 on the remaining shares I had. Got called away, and the stock's damn near doubled. Not the best candle, but I think it's about to trap some shorts. People looking at this like a shooting star or some shit, blow off top at the top of a trend. If it's a blow off trap, I'd rather kind of trade sideways a little bit, then break down. I don't want to just take this and anticipate that this is a blow off top. Blow off top is kind of confirmed after the price. But yeah, that's really about it. I do not have much on my list in terms of stuff that I think is relevant. Let's go take a look at Avis. Avis budget. And this stock hasn't made a new high in a while. Um, this isn't a bad look. Little breakdown. You can kind of see it, right? You can take this back down to 76. Earnings is not for a while. Looks like, right? Yeah, no earnings in a way. Technical pattern. You have that support. I do like that. So let's keep that on our red list. That's what I see. But yeah, that's all, people. Peace. God bless.